I had to come nose to nose with death. That was not a line from a script, not a dramatic monologue written for television. It was a real reflection from James Van Der Beek, a man the world once knew simply as the wide-eyed dreamer from Dawson's Creek, but who would later become something far more powerful. A husband confronting mortality, a father fighting for time, and a human being searching for meaning beyond fame. When he spoke about facing death, it wasn't in the tone of a celebrity seeking sympathy. It was the voice of someone who had looked at the fragile thread of life and understood what truly mattered. He talked about examining his own mortality and the impact it would have on his wife and children. In that confrontation with fear, he reached a profound conclusion. He was worthy of God's love simply because he existed. Not because of awards, not because of television ratings, not because of public applause, simply because he was alive. That belief would anchor him through the most challenging chapter of his life. Long before illness, long before the introspection, there was a young actor standing on a set in North Carolina in 1997. "Welcome to the set of Dawson's Creek," he once said, walking through Dawson Leery's bedroom filled with movie posters and teenage ambition. At just 20 years old, James Van Der Beek was on the verge of becoming a household name. The series, filmed in North Carolina, would define a generation of teen drama and shape the lives of its cast. He had been working toward that moment for years. Since age 16, he had been performing in off-Broadway productions, learning discipline and craft. College came next, but when Dawson's Creek was picked up as a series, he made a bold decision. He dropped out. Acting wasn't a hobby, it was the dream, and suddenly, the dream was real. The show exploded in popularity. For 6 seasons, Dawson's Creek became a cultural phenomenon. Alongside James Van Der Beek, it launched the careers of Michelle Williams, Katie Holmes, and Joshua Jackson. The chemistry between the cast felt authentic because much of it was. James and Joshua even shared an apartment during the early years. There were long shooting days, sometimes 14 hours, and there was the surreal experience of fame arriving almost overnight. Red carpets followed. In 1998, James and Katie Holmes attended the Emmys together, both wide-eyed and adjusting to the spotlight. The world saw him as Dawson Leery, sensitive, romantic, slightly awkward, and endlessly earnest. For many fans, he wasn't playing Dawson, he was Dawson. But that identity came with pressure. By the late 1990s, James felt the need to prove he could be more than the boy next door. In 1999, he took on a dramatically different role in Varsity Blues. He gained muscle, trained intensely, and stepped into the cleats of a tough high school quarterback. The famous line, "I don't want your life," became instantly iconic. It signaled something important. He was trying to break free. The film became a box office success and earned him an MTV Movie Award. Yet even on set, he couldn't entirely escape Dawson's shadow. Crew members would tease him by humming the theme song from Dawson's Creek. His college friends joked about his heartthrob image. The industry labeled him, and labels are hard to peel off. Determined to stretch himself further, he embraced darker material. In The Rules of Attraction, he portrayed a morally complicated college drug dealer and brother of a serial killer. He took on the Western-inspired action of Texas Rangers, even altering his appearance with facial hair, only to have it shaved off to return to the familiar blonde Dawson look for television. He once admitted that when he saw himself transformed back, he almost felt emotional. It was as if he was stepping into an identity that no longer fully represented who he was becoming. By the end of Dawson's Creek's 6-season run, exhaustion had set in. Fame had arrived quickly, and the relentless pace had taken its toll. He admitted he was burned out. He even swore he might never return to television. But artists evolve, and so did he. Instead of running from the Dawson persona, James began to embrace it, even parody it. He appeared on Criminal Minds as a chilling antagonist, showcasing his range. He made a memorable cameo on How I Met Your Mother, poking fun at the idea of a former teen idol who had let himself go. On Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23, he played an exaggerated, fictionalized version of himself, hilariously self-aware.
Even on Saturday Night Live, he leaned into the cultural joke that he would forever be tied to a 1990s coming-of-age drama. Once, he joked about how awkward it was when he was at the gym and the Dawson's Creek theme song would play over the speakers. There was nowhere to hide. Yet rather than resist it, he chose humor. He understood that laughing at yourself can be a form of liberation. Later, he joined the cast of CSI Cyber, becoming part of one of television's biggest franchises. In 2017, he transformed again, starring in the parody series What Would Diplo Do?, portraying a fictionalized version of DJ Diplo. He didn't just act in it, he helped produce it and shape it creatively. The real Diplo encouraged him to go all out to make the character ridiculous, and James did, proving once again that he was willing to reinvent. While his professional life was evolving, his personal life was expanding in profound ways. In 2010, following his divorce from Heather McComb, he married Kimberly Brook in an intimate ceremony in Israel, a place they both cherished deeply. Together, they began building a large, loving family. They would eventually have 6 children, but their journey to parenthood was marked by heartbreak. Kimberly Brook experienced 5 miscarriages, 2 of which were severe enough to require hospitalization. The emotional toll was immense. In 2019, during his time on Dancing with the Stars, James spoke openly about their losses. That same night, he was eliminated from the competition. The juxtaposition was painful, public disappointment layered over private grief. "The world moves on faster than you heal," he reflected. As if that weren't enough, 8 months later, he lost his mother. Grief compounded grief. Then came the global pandemic, reshaping daily life for everyone. Seeking peace and stability, the family made a bold move. They left Los Angeles and relocated to a 36-acre ranch in Texas. It was a shift away from Hollywood's noise towards something grounded and natural. But in 2023, another storm arrived. James Van Der Beek was diagnosed with stage 3 colorectal cancer. The diagnosis was private at first. For over a year, he told almost no one outside his closest circle. But in 2024, when a tabloid threatened to expose the news, he chose to speak openly. When asked how he was feeling, he replied with surprising steadiness. He was in a healing portal. He felt strong. He felt hopeful. Behind that optimism was a harsh reality. Cancer was affecting his ability to show up as the husband and father he wanted to be. He admitted there were times he could no longer help his wife the way he used to, times he couldn't pick up his children and carry them to bed. For a man whose identity had shifted from actor to devoted family man, that loss of physical strength was devastating. The financial strain was real too. At one point, he sold merchandise connected to Varsity Blues to help cover treatment costs. It was a humbling moment, a former teen icon fighting not just illness, but the practical burdens that accompany it. Yet, even in struggle, he found purpose. In 2024, he participated in The Real Full Monty on Fox, helping raise awareness about colorectal cancer. He wanted others, especially men, to get screened early. If his story could save even one life, the vulnerability would be worth it. One of his most unexpectedly healing experiences was when he joined The Masked Singer. Hidden behind a costume, his identity concealed, he felt a sense of freedom. For a brief time, he wasn't the actor with cancer. He wasn't Dawson. He wasn't a headline. He was simply a performer connecting with an audience. When his children surprised him backstage, the emotion was overwhelming. Judges like Robin Thicke and Ken Jeong were visibly moved. His children expressed how proud he was of them. In that moment, applause from strangers mattered less than the love in their children's voices. Throughout his journey, faith deepened. Facing mortality stripped away illusion. He spoke about discovering that worth is not earned through success, it is inherent. What lies on the other side of fear, he said, is not just accomplishment, it is relief. Relief from ego, relief from striving, relief from pretending to be invincible. By the final season of his life, James Van Der Beek was no longer trying to outrun Dawson Leery. He had integrated that chapter into a much larger story. He was an actor who had grown up, a father who had fought fiercely, a husband who had endured unimaginable loss alongside his partner, a man who had stared down death and chosen love over despair. Yes, the world will always remember him from Dawson's Creek, the flannel shirts, the emotional monologues, the unforgettable theme song. But his legacy stretches far beyond that screen image. He demonstrated resilience in Varsity Blues, reinvention in What Would Diplo Do, courage in speaking about miscarriage on Dancing with the Stars, advocacy in The Real Full Monty, joy and vulnerability in The Masked Singer. Most importantly, he modeled something rare in Hollywood: authenticity. In the end, his greatest role wasn't written by a screenwriter. It was lived, imperfectly, bravely, and honestly. He showed that you can be defined by a character and still transcend it, that you can lose strength and still remain powerful, that you can face death and still choose hope. And perhaps his most enduring message is simple: you are worthy of love simply because you exist. That truth outlives fame. It outlives applause. It even outlives